Good evening, morning gardener here. Ah, I understand that there's a new way of doing live stream on YouTube, but I will look into it further. Hello. And hello to you as well. This is live. I was going to go to karaoke tonight, but I decided not to. I am going to do good evening, Monica. Oh, good evening to you as well. And good evening. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Oh, let's see what we got here. Gardening, homestead. Hello, hello. How you doing? I think it's the first time me seeing you in this room. Maybe you change your. They call it thumbnail. I think it is what they call it. And let's see. Hello, how are you doing as well? Yes, yes. A steady gardener, and I say, I am. Okay, okay. All righty. And I got to tell you, I still get a kick out of doing this because I'm a gardener, and by every definition, I'm a gardener, and I've been doing it for a long time. And the years just seem to, when I started, it was like I started, and it was a ton of stuff to learn, and I made a ton of mistakes. I always say that I've made all the mistakes that could be made in the garden. I've done it all. I have made a lot of mistakes, and I've learned from all of those. So now, when I garden, when I garden, I am more excited when I grow quality as opposed to how big something grows or how, I was cutting grass in my yard today, of weeds and grass. Let me clarify that. Some of them was over, could have been 3.5 feet tall, and um, and so I cut all this down, and and when I use a weed trimmer, folks, I have to use a serious weed trimmer. I don't use a regular $100 weed trimmer or something like that. I can't 150. I cannot use that. My yard would totally disrespect a weed trimmer like that. My soil in those areas of my yard where I do my gardening is so I want to say rich that it grows anything. I go into the yard, I look at something, and then I come back, and it's done grown crazy. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up. I just happened to look over and noticed and saw that. Um, so I learned over the years of making all the mistakes I could, What's the Gardener? Oh, okay. And so what I did is I just worked on, and what I always work on is improving my soil, through the years. And I found out that uh, doing something called and drop, chop and drop. You can look it up when you get time, and it's going to be it's a ton. Well, not a ton of videos. There's very few videos on it, you know, that really spell out what exactly it is. But chop and drop is a means of chopping down basically vegetation and creating um, what was called food for your soil, your biology in your soil. And and the reason why you don't hear a lot about it, in my opinion, is because you can do it free, and no one wants to tell you that facet or that part of gardening because they don't sell you products when they show you how you can do it in this manner. You can do it. Another one is a process, and I hope I can call the name of it, where you bury a large pieces of wood, small wood, whatever, and you bury it, and it rots in the soil. I can't think of the name of it right now. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, and so when you do this process, it allows you to enrich your soil using what nature naturally does, which is plants live, plants grow, plants die. And they always do one thing, and it's return to the soil. People do the same. And so, why show you that? I need to show you books and magazines that tell you to buy permaculture. Thank you very much. It's good to be in here with a knowledgeable gardener because sometimes I forget the names of these stuff, but you know, it's just there's so much is going on up in here about gardening that it's like I gotta get it organized. But at any rate, I digress. When you use this permaculture method, you can actually enrich some of the poorest soil. You can enrich soil when you use chop and drop, which is fertilizing from the surface down, which is the natural way that nature does it. When a limb hits the ground from a tree, from a storm, no matter what size it is, you come back in a number of years or a year, depending on the size of the branch, and it's gone. It didn't disappear. It simply got devoured because that's what its natural, part of the food chain. It's supposed to go back into the ground. Same thing happens if a large tree hits the ground. Eventually, over a number of years, that tree will disappear, goes into the ground. Um, so I use this method and found out that it does something to the soil that's absolutely incredible. And I learned it out of pure accidental. I was being lazy one year, and when I grew everything, I didn't want to go out there and clean up the yard, pick out, or pull up all of my plants. I didn't want to do that. I just didn't want to do it. I didn't feel like it. Some of you are like that. I mean, you get out there and go, "Oh God, it's hot out here," or "Man, it's starting to rain, and I don't feel like doing this." But I left everything there, and it snowed and it rained all winter and whatever. And when spring came, I noticed that the majority of that uh, debris that I left was gone. And I said, wow, I was amazed at how fast it was gone. And then I started doing some research, more research actually, and I found that majority of the uh, plant life that is being devoured is enriching the soil at an alarming rate. And it was creating, from my clay soil, uh, it was creating this rich, fertile black soil. And I said, So I did more of it. I started chopping and dropping weeds and grass and leaving them on the surface. And it was done small at first, small operation. And then once I saw what it was doing to the soil, I kept noticing that the population of insects, pill bugs and worms, uh, uh, in larger numbers in the soil. I started noticing this. And I said, wait a minute, could it be that simple? No, no, no. Okay. Let me answer that question because it's a good question. I do not do the wood chips anymore. The wood chips are great and they work. However, I figured out if I could do the same thing with chop and drop, only difference is I didn't have to haul in a bunch of wood, which I did that at one point. I was getting 10,000 pounds, 20,000 pounds of wood at a time. And it was just incredible amount of work to do for one person. And I said, wait a minute, this is not right. And then you're bringing in all kind of vines and different types of plant life that is, some of it is really evasive once it gets there. But it's a way to use that as well. I'm telling you in a second. But I started using the weeds, and I was creating weed tea. That was a plus. I was chopping and dropping it, and I was creating all this rich soil. Now it's a lot of work. You have to keep it up. Yeah, you have to. You have to keep bringing it in. You have to keep bringing it in. You have to. But I said, why do that when you can get all of the same benefits from grass and weed? Why should I be hauling in all this wood? And so as I kept chopping and dropping through the spring, summer, and fall, near the beginning of fall, when I started doing this, I have this rich black soil. Look, when I step on my soil now, I'll give you a good example. For those who are interested in soil, when I step on my soil now, it's black and you sink in. You sink. And you're sinking in soil that's soft. Um, and you know that it wasn't like that before because you've been living here for over 20 years. And only in that area where you work is the soil like that in the gardening area. The rest of my soil, I walk every day and on the lawn, it's just clay. So at any rate, that's where I'm at right now. So my soil is great. It's getting better and better and better. Um, worms are everywhere in my soil. I cannot literally put any tool in my soil without pulling out worms. Worms that are they're totally excited when they come up to the surface. Worms crawling through the top part of the soil because they can go in and out of the soil with effortlessly do that. So yeah, I'm happy about my soil now. I grow things; they turn out where they taste great, and it's just incredible source of food because when you allow the the roots, which some roots have, excuse me, some weeds have very long tap roots. The tap roots can be 4 feet or 7 feet deep, and those roots pull up these valuable minerals, uh, power food, if you will, and they store it in their stems and leaves and blossoms and everything. So when you cut that off and it falls to the surface, and the biology eats that, it actually leaves that stuff right up at the top of the surface or near the top of the surface. So it's there. Uh, and when you eat the food from our garden, you can feel this like rush of energy. Now you feel like doing the laundry. Now you feel like going up to pick up your cousin from her job. You feel like doing it now because you have this energy now. And it directly comes from your food supply. So I have noticed that when I buy food from the grocery store and you eat it, and you're still hungry. You have no energy and you're still hungry. But when you eat it from the garden, you have more energy. Now, this year, it's fall. Well, I guess soon will be fall. I am going to do a fall garden. Collard green and kale primarily. Kale is a power food, we all know. And I'm doing kale and I'm doing collard greens, but there's another one I put in. It's going to be a type of Hello, morning gardener. Thank you. Hello, how you doing? Glad to catch you for the few moments. Yeah, thank you very much. I don't get a lot of company here on this page because I don't know. I talk a lot about real stuff that deals with gardening. I just do. It's part of my personality. I can't walk you around and show you, the parks and the stores, and I can't do that. I just got to talk about soil because that's the whole key. If you get when you start gardening, if someone would have told me this 20 years ago that it would have said, "Son, start with your soil." But I want to grow corn and cabbage and I want to grow. No, start with your soil. I don't want you to do. I don't want you to worry about none of that. I want you to grow the soil first. Well, what do you mean grow the soil? Well, I want you to add organic matter to that soil. Organic matter. Okay. Where do I get this organic matter at? Well, you get it from your weeds and your grass that are growing every single year, which drive you completely crazy because you don't know what to do with it. And you try to bag it up and get rid of it. They tell you don't put it in your compost pile because it creates seeds and all these seeds go crazy and they tear up your ground. Uh, that is something that I found to be a little untrue because when I use the weeds, I'm using the same way nature uses them. But weeds grow up, they fall down, and they go back to the ground. The only thing I do is speed it up a bit. I go out there and I take my weed trimmer and trim it all down, nice and low, and let it hit the ground. Leave it there. Come back in a week or two, it's gone. And the weeds are growing back up again, and I cut them back down again. And I'm adding food to the soil because I can tell because there's so many worms in my garden. The one thing I would increase on right now to my garden is I got to add more pollinators, more pollinators, and that would because I got some kind of weeds, a vine that grows on one of my fences, and it's got all these flowers on it. It's little tiny little white flowers. I don't know what this weed is called, but it attracts a lot of wasps and bumblebees and that sort of thing. So I said, okay, maybe I have enough pollinators. But in reality, if you can increase the number of pollinators on your property, you're only helping your garden become that much, of a food forest. Now, my trees. Let me get to my trees real quick because my trees have become my pride and joy, and they weren't always that way. They become like big old family members, if you would, because I watched them. I put them in the ground when they was. Let me see, what were they? Little sticks about that big around like this battery. Little sticks. They're about 3, 4 feet tall when they came here, and I put them in the ground, and uh, and I watched them grow. And I watched them. And I used to go out there and watch them even produce. Ooh, it's a leaf coming out, and the leaf be about as big as a grain of rice. Now those same trees are 22 feet tall, about 10 feet across. And I said, wait a minute. And you go back to your paperwork where it says dwarf, 8 feet tall to 10 feet tall. No, that is a straight up lie, folks. That's exactly what it is. Those trees, if you put them in the right soil, they will get big. They will get big because my soil, I used to, uh, my neighbor, I miss him because he passed away. He was like an uncle to me. And but he used to cut his yard. And I said, "What are you gonna do with the grass clippings?" And he said, "I'm gonna throw them in the trash." I said, "Can I have them?" And he said, "Sure." So I would grab his wheelbarrow and I would roll the wheelbarrow over to my property, and I would empty them at the base of my trees. And I would spread it out, of course, to make sure I had enough. And then he would give me another wheelbarrow, and I would take it over, and I put it around the base of the trees, basically. And the trees would respond. You would see in a few weeks or a month, you would see the darker green leaves, dead giveaway that it was getting plenty of nitrogen from this grass. And I said, all right, that's going to work. And I found out a food source. And so I kept grabbing all this stuff, and I would cut the branches from the trees when I do my trimming, and I would cut them into pieces, 12 inches long, and I would put them around the base of the tree, and it would fertilize the tree. But let me tell you something else I did, and I thought was really crazy. Nowadays, what I do is a little different. I have tree branches underneath my trees that are 4 and 7 feet long. I just lay them up under the tree, knowing that within a year and a half, those branches are going to be gone. They're going to be gone, and it's going to look like, where did they go? Because I've had too many branches, too many. I have logs I put under there that thick around underneath a tree. Come back, it's gone after a period of time. What kind of trees do you have? Do you plant? Do you plant pollinators right now? It depends on what kind of pollinator I would plant. It depends. It depends because I would like to get something like a perennial and put it around the tree because each year I needed to come back and produce. Excuse me, to stimulate bees into coming into the area and eating, and they'll see my trees there. Trees that I have, it's kind of like a long list. I have, let's see, apple trees. I have Fuji, Honeycrisp, and Granny Smith. The reason why I like Granny Smith is one of my favorite apples. Plus, you can make great pies with it. But you can do it with a number of apples, but primarily, Granny Smith is one of the ones that makes a very good apple pie, and that's why I have one, two. I think I have. Man, I only have, wait a minute. One, two. I only have two Granny Smiths. I thought I had more than that. Anyway, I have a number of apple trees. I think I got about, I want to say 7 to 10 of the apple trees. Um, and I have peach trees. One, two, three, four, five. Five peach trees. I have plums. One, two, three. I think it's three. No. Wait. One, two, three, four. I have four plum trees. Pear trees. I have one, two, three pear trees. Cherry trees. I have one, two, three, four, five. I have five of those. Um, and so and that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work because if you don't keep them trimmed back, they will get big and gangly and everything. I mean, they will, and they'll just be. You'll just hate them because you'll say, "Look at them. They're so tall. I can't do anything with them right now." I refuse to allow my trees to get to that point. I refuse. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. No. I never did any from seeds because everyone on Earth was saying. That's they usually purchase. Okay, you what they were saying was that you could grow this apple tree, and it tastes nothing like its mother, its father. It tastes nothing like it. It could be a tree that just has it could be an apple that's undesirable. If you waited so many years and it grew, and now when you get a standard apple tree, they take longer actually to produce fruit, sometimes upwards to 7 years. And I like dwarfs, not the semi dwarfs, the ones they have at Home Depot, Lowe's, and places like Walmart. I don't like those trees because they stick them in a pot. They're semi dwarf, and they haven't got the message yet that they should be growing. Excuse me, they should be selling dwarf because that's what primarily we're looking for: dwarf trees. Um, dwarf trees stay a little small. It will. Trust me. Put it in the right soil. Put it in the right location with the sun. And if it's happy, it's gonna get big. I have dwarf trees that are 21 feet tall, big branches on them and everything. And I was out there a couple of days ago trimming these trees back because I mean they were reaching almost to the top of my roof of my house, and I said no, we ain't gonna do that because once they get too big, you'll be out there with a chainsaw cutting this stuff down. And okay, so anyway, they get about 2 years old to 3 years old. Most the dwarf trees will start producing fruit. And but the trick is, and here's the trick: finding the right pollinator, making sure you have a pollinator in that location. 'Cause I did that mistake where, and I'm still dealing with it with trees that don't have a match with them, that don't have a pollinator there. I have cherry trees that they'll bloom early. Then this one comes on and bloom. This one's already finished blooming, but it had no pollinator. So I'm trying to get that resolved. Um, so that's what we are. Oh, let's see. My peach tree, yeah, fruit, but you have peach trees. Let me tell you something. Peach tree is kind of a difficult tree to grow. I have five of them, and I'm gonna tell you like this: if you don't read up on them and understand that tree, you will get lots of uh, depressed fruit on that tree. And as soon as you see that looks like brown syrup that's leaking out of them, that's a bug that already went in there and did some damage, and he's already doing his due to him. That's what he's doing to him. He's doing what he got to do to make sure his family survives. That's what he's doing, and that's sad because you produce all these. And keep in mind, uh, you can grow peaches, beautiful, beautiful pieces of fruit, but you gotta find out what works for you. Now, me, I don't want to put any what they call them things. I don't want to put anything on there man-made, any kind of chemicals on my fruit. I want all natural fruit, but there are some things you can put on there during the fall, which is like they call it dormancy spray. And dormancy spray is basically a thin oil that chokes and smothers the insects that are already on the tree. They're trying to overwinter. So you got to saturate this tree all down, wet it all down. Come back out there again and do it. So wet it all down. And when you do this, you're hoping to kill enough of these bugs that are on the tree already and around the base of the tree so that you can make sure that population doesn't hit the fruit before the fruit is already been picked by you. And anyway, that's the game plan. And but there are other farmers that use those really aggressive chemicals that they put on there, which they say are not too good for you as well as the bug. So I don't want to go that route. Let's see. Hello. Let's see. Yep. That thick, thick gel that comes out of those pieces of fruit is a bug that's done some damage to that. And they do it to the bark of the tree too. I mean, they go after the bark. They don't discriminate. I think, yeah, they don't discriminate. They go after your tree. But let's say, okay, you made up your mind. You're gonna grow grapefruit next year. If you want to keep the tree small, let me tell you a little thing about the tree. You have to prune it in the summer months, and this will keep down the. But now if it's got fruit on it, that's a different situation. Um, but you want to cut it in the summer, and it'll kind of keep the tree kind of small. Now, when you do it in the fall and winter, you actually stimulate the tree into growing, you know, a lot more when it comes to spring. It's just gonna grow bigger and more gangly because of when you prune it. But when you do it in the summer, it gives the tree another message that hey, um, I need to store my energy and use it for other purposes, which is producing seeds, which is fruit. The gel coating on it is basically nutrients for the seed that's inside of the fruit. But folks, I gotta tell you. I am totally excited about my pear tree because I got some big, pretty pears this year. But I think I bought the wrong tree because I bought it from a shop years ago that I bought all these trees and they were like $10 a piece. I thought I was getting a bargain. Half the trees they sent me were dead. Half of the trees they sent me were the wrong ones and everything. I mean, it was crazy. And I kept buying them and buying them. And I was like, I'm getting a bargain. And I was loading up on them and getting plums and everything. And all the trees were bad. Out of all those trees, which I spent hundreds of dollars on those trees, uh, all of them were bad, died later, or what was the other thing they did? They were wrong trees. I grew trees that, I mean, they had nothing to do with nothing. I mean, it was just a wrong. And I was calling people. I said, why is this tree producing these tiny apples? Well, they produced those tiny apples because they were crab apples. They were not actual Honeycrisp apples. They weren't Granny Smith. They weren't Fuji's. They were the wrong apple trees. And this company would not admit to that. And I remember that. It was just crazy. So I go out there and I hack down a tree that I grew for 3 years, um, and it's gone. Now I got to find a way to get this big, thick root out of the ground so I can put another tree there and try all over again. And that's why I say I made all the mistakes. Um, and I started buying, and please, before I say this, I'm not advertising for them. I don't do that. But it's called, what's it called? Stock Brothers or whatever it's called, Stock Brothers. And Stock Brothers sold me all the trees and stuff I got from them was quality trees. Now, when the summer and spring come on, man, if they don't have the tree, they'll send you something as well. I just said, what the heck is this? For the same price. I was, so I got my trees from them. All of them were big, burly trees. Now, I don't buy the Supreme. They got one called the Supreme, which is a thicker diameter trunk of the tree. I don't buy that because trees that I found that do better is when they're a little small anyway. They adapt to the soil like quicker. So I would buy those, and plus they're a little cheaper. And you get them in there. If you put them in the right area, like I said, you see what we got here. What we got here? A deer problem. That is hard. You'll have to protect the bar from deer. Absolutely. You got to get you a piece of a wire fencing and put around a daggone tree up to about that's 4, maybe 5 feet tall. Put it around the tree, and yeah, he's gonna nibble on certain parts of that tree, but as long as you protect that daggone stock of that tree, which is the what they call it, the trunk of that tree, so he don't do too much damage to that. You could actually have mice that will kill a tree in the winter when the snow piles up high, and the only thing they got to eat is bark, and they'll go around that tree and eat that bark, and that tree will be dead in the spring. They eat the leaves. Yeah, the leaves. Yeah, yep, they eat the leaves. That's what they do. Let's see. Morning garden. What is the best time to prune the trees? Oh, I was just telling you. You probably went to the bathroom on that part. But here you go. I will try to get back out there. Here it is. It depends on what you want when you prune the trees. It depends on what you want. Now, me, I'm fighting with trees that are getting too big. So I would prune in the summer. Right now, I'm in the process right now this week at pruning my trees. I get them down and low and everything. Um, because I refuse to let them get too tall, which right now they are too tall. So I'm gonna bring them back down to where I can reach everything. That's when I prune because if I want to control size, I do it in the warmer months. Now, most people say prune in the fall. They say prune in the fall. There's a reason for that because you tend to move less disease around when you are pruning in the fall because it's cooler and there's less chance of disease passing around. But you can actually avoid that by if you're out there and you got alcohol and you're spraying your tools constantly and wiping them down and before you go to the next tree, yeah, you can control a great deal of not passing on disease. But try to if you're going to do control size, yeah, do them. If it's a young tree, if it's a very young tree, Let that tree grow out. Let it establish where its branches are going to be, and everything. And then you start trimming on it once it gets some size to it and some age to it, 2 3 years old. Yeah, you can start pruning on it then. But right now, if it's a very young tree, a year old or something like that, let that tree establish itself. Okay, and then you start cutting on it and doing what you got to do. The best tree that grows fruit well is when the person that has it leaves that tree alone and not keep fussing with it. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. See. What is the slowest fruit tree? Too bad fruit. Um, what's the slowest? Let's see. Uh, I don't think. Okay, let's see. Because I have cherry trees and plums and apples, and the first one I noticed that. Let me explain something. The first one I noticed that produced on my property was the first one, and that was the peaches. Peaches can bear fruit for a certain number of years, and then they get sick and they die, which is the sad part. They don't live a long, 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 long time. Peach trees don't. They just don't. Um, but I would say peach trees produce faster. What other tree produces slowest? I would say that would be between the ones that I have. God, I want to say cherry trees, but they produce in about 2 years, 3 years, something like that. They produce the cherries, and you get it. And each year, a cherry tree is a funny tree. Each year, you just start getting more and more cherries, and that's how they do. First year they produce, you can be all excited. You go, oh my God, look at this fruit on this tree. And then the birds will find out where they are because they can smell the sugar. Um, and so you got the cherries up there, and you eat them, and they're sweet, and you go, wow, this is better than going to the grocery store. This is great. Then the reality sets in. Next year they produce a little more, and then a little more. You have that. Look, now you're into the fourth or fifth year, and the tree's got so many dang on cherries on it. You can't pick them all because I dealt with that this year. You can't pick them all. Now you imagine if you got like I do one, two, three, four. What is it? One, two, three, four, five. I have five cherry trees. You cannot eat five trees worth of cherries. You cannot do it. Now if you're gonna store it, make jams out of it and all that kind of stuff, pies and everything. After a while, if you can store it, you can hold on to them. But and when you're out there picking these things, it's a lot of cherries. It's a lot of cherries. It's a lot of cherries. I picked one tree. I got 7 pounds of cherries off of it, and this is a dwarf here. 7 pounds of cherries. I walked away from the tree, looked back at the tree, and it looked like I didn't touch it. It's how many cherries were left on there. Well, yeah, all of them going to require some patience. Absolutely, they're going to require patience when you look at uh, it's an investment. Actually, um, some trees when you sell a house, if you can tell them there's a Honeycrisp apple tree out back, and they look at it and see it planted in a good spot and everything, they actually can up the value of that real estate. Because a family with kids and all would like to have a daggone apple tree on the property where they can have their kids come out there and get fresh apples and stay healthy and live longer and improve their health. So um, it's certain things you got to know when you grow the trees, as you said. And I got blueberries that produce every year, and I usually just let the birds get them because I refuse to buy bird netting. And I think this year coming up, I will buy bird netting because It's just not right letting the birds get them every year. I tried to be kind to these birds. I tried to be respectful with these birds, but they won't leave me any of the blueberries. They won't do it. I would be willing to share some of them with them, but they won't do it. They wait till they get purple, blue, excuse me, and they wait for them to get some size to them. I go to work, come back, and the complete bush is stripped of every single blueberry. That's not how you do business. So they're gonna have to know I'm gonna spend a little $5 and get the bird netting and keep them off of the majority of it. Now I'm gonna tell you something else about um, cherry trees. Birds will strip your cherry trees. Um, I'm gonna tell you the truth about cherry trees. I ain't gonna tell you no lies. So cause on the commercials they don't tell you that when they're selling these trees. They don't tell you that when you start bringing all this fruit and food to your yard, that everything else in the area is not hungry like you are. Yes, they are. Birds, squirrels, raccoons, um, I think it's squirrels, possums. They move at night when they go foraging, climbing up trees and all that, eating what they need. Um, insects, wasps, bees, who drill fruit that has hit the ground and they're eating it while you're off at work or whatever, and they're eating it and they're threatening when you're in the area. Them big wasps are coming around. You're like, yeah, come on over here if you want to. I'm gonna sting you, and I'm gonna turn around and keep eating. Yeah, so you want to be careful of that. But I gotta tell you, folks, is it worth it? Yes. Is it worth it? Yes. I got a pear in the room there that's waiting for me. I'm gonna slice it up with a knife, wash it first, and I'm gonna slice up with a knife. And it grew from my tree, and it's sweet. And when you bite into it, the juices run down your arm, and you say to yourself, "Wow, this is incredible. This is absolutely incredible." Well, folks, I'm going to go and take out my trash receptacles because I have to do that. Tomorrow's Tuesday. Um, I cut the whole yard today. It's a lot of work cutting this yard. It's like an acre. So I'm going on an acre. Well, actually less than an acre. And I got all my trees grown in what they call high density planting. My trees are like 21 inches apart. You'll see a ton of my trees on my site and all. Good night. Thank you for the chat. Oh, see that? I like that right there. She said, "Thank you for the chat." She didn't hear me earlier, so I said I was going to put my trash out. I wasn't going anywhere. I'm coming right back, but I got to take that out because I know how I am. I will forget to take that out, and I will be, and they'll come in the morning, and I'll be like, "Oh God, I don't want to get up this early," and then they'll miss, And I like to, keep everything running smooth now. Um, I like growing my own food. I love that. I have food from my garden in my deep freezer now, and it feels good. It feels like you have some power over what's going on out here. It's crazy. You have some say. And I ate fresh corn from my yard this year. That was good. It wasn't a lot, but then again, I didn't plant a lot. But I like that corn. It's called peaches and cream. And I like that corn, peaches and cream. So that's what I'm gonna do. Just keep on making it do what it do. And the collard greens in the fall, the kale in the fall, when you can take some. I don't know if any of you are from the country or have family from the country. But when you cook some collard greens and you put some smoked turkey necks in there or some smoked some kind of smoked meat in there with it, ham or whatever. And if you cook the collard greens southern style with onions and bacon in there and all that kind of stuff, yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible, folks. Let me hold you tight. Yeah. I just love it. I just love it. I'm thinking about gardening. It makes me excited. But today I did a lot of work. I think I got back familiar with my property and realized all the stuff that grew up. And I'm looking saying, cut this stuff down, get this stuff under control. Because when you live in a certain area, you want to keep your property tidy. Because you don't want the neighbors and people looking and saying, look at that property over there. That don't make no sense. You don't want that. Um, wow. So if you're here when I get back, I appreciate it. If not, then have a good evening. I'm going to go and do the trash removal thing so that I keep my house running like a smooth, well-oiled machine. All right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And we focus down. lot of stuff that you don't understand who you're dealing with. Okay, no, leave it alone. Came back, did what I had to do. It's all checked. It's my prerogative. I do what I want to do. Today's the 26th, and I am online now. Oh, it's almost an hour. I haven't been online that long. Okay, looking over some bills here. And if you have any credit card bills, as a lot of us do, no, he did not. Family network. Ooh, baby love, my baby love. Ooh, how I need your love. Don't try to break it up. How does it break it up? Mm-hmm. Ooh, 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 baby love, my baby love. Ooh, how I need your love. How does it break it up? And let me hold you tight, if only for the night. Let me keep you near, ease away your fears. Okay, let's see what we got here. It would be so nice, if only for one night. Let's see, what am I reading here? We will. Yeah, let's see. Credit card debt in the U.S. have reached a total of $1 trillion a year. That's trillion, folks, not just a couple million. And people get into this trap of these credit cards with, every store you go to, everybody's offering you, and it seems like it's free money you're getting to buy things on time. Then you get this credit card. The average person has credit debt of at least $4,000 or more. and they're struggling with all these late fees and penalties and everything. Once they get you on the hook, they got you hooked in. Let me tell you a couple things that'll help you out here. And keep in mind, I am not an expert on these credit card strategies or bills or anything. I'm not an expert. But here's what you want to do. First of all, you want to pay as much as you possibly can that you can afford to pay. That's what you want to do. Second, you want to, instead of doing it monthly, you want to do it every 2 weeks. You want to make a payment, a payment, a payment, a payment. That's what you want to do. And you want to make these payments because you will save on it in the long run because you're paying down the principal. And so you reduce the debt faster. What was the other thing I wanted to talk about? You can get on the phone and talk to your credit card companies if you've been with them a while and you've been paying on time based on your payment history and how long you've been with them. And you can talk to them, but get on the phone and see can you talk down the amount of interest that they're charging on that card. And it's not a short conversation, it's not a guarantee, but sometimes you can, in fact, talk them down based on your history. And you want to also let them know that what the actual, you want to have your information in front of you as well, what the average cost is, and you want to make certain that you can say, hey, look, I know the credit card, interest now is about, let's say for instance, it's at 10%, but they're charging you 18%. You want to see can you talk that down some, so you can get out from under that, and then just basically stop using the credit card after you get all of it paid down. And you can't keep using the credit card while you're making these payments because if you do, you'll never get out from under it because the two don't go together. You're paying off the credit card, but you keep using the credit card. It doesn't make good business uh, you know sense when you're doing it from that perspective. All right, good people. This is Napoleon, the warrior in the garden, which is always in the morning garden. Thank you very much. In stream and 4, 5, 3, 2, 1. Remember, keep on growing and also get rid of those credit card debts.